Good morning, dear students. I, Vijayalakshmi, your teacher of English, welcome you to Lecture 7 of Chapter 2 Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Dear students, till now we read that Mandela described the systems of government in his country in the first decade and in the final decade of 20th century. Now let us read again. What does he say? In the first decade of 20th century, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial dominion against the dark-skinned people of their own land, thus creating the basis of one of the harshest and most inhumane societies the world had ever known. And in the final decade of the 20th century, the previous system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedom of all people regardless of the color of their skin. Now let's continue and read what happens next in the chapter. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Even in the grimmest time in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never be extinguished. So here Mandela believed and he shared with all that hate is not natural to man, it is acquired. If a man can learn to hate another because of the color of his skin, he can also be taught to love. Love, according to Mandela, comes more naturally to human heart than its opposite. He recounted the days of oppression that he had undergone during his long imprisonment as a freedom fighter. He shared that even at the most critical time, he saw a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. This helped to keep alive his faith that man's goodness is a flame and that can never be extinguished. So he wanted to say we should love each other. We should not hate each other on the basis of our caste, creed, color of our skin. He wanted to prove that we should love each other. In life, every man has twin obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife, to his children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. In a civil and human society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both of those obligations. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people, fulfill his duty to his people, was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart. A twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family. But in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, as a brother, as a father, and as a husband. Now, in his speech, Mandela describes two obligations that every individual has in life: personal obligation to his family, friends, and the obligation to his community and country. He wanted to say every man fulfills both these obligations according to his circumstances and abilities. But tragically, in his country, if any black colored man like him tried to fulfill these obligations, he was punished and isolated. Discharging duties to one's country, its people, community was considered a crime by the authorities, and such a person was severed away from his surroundings. This was what had happened to him as well. So he is recalling his days which he spent in South Africa. He says, "This was what had happened to me as well. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way that I could know. Free to run in the fields near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast maize under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls, as long as obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe. I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, when I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself. The transitory freedom of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased, and go where I chose. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family. The freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. So, this he wanted to say that this free kind of childhood he was living. As a child, he did not understand the meaning of freedom because he enjoyed life freely under the care of his parents. He later realized that this boyhood freedom was an illusion. After going to Johannesburg, his attention was drawn to the fact that he, as well as his fellow beings, were not free. He decided that this was as an illusion. He then began to desire for basic and honorable freedom, which he required to achieve his potential. He observed that his freedom had been curtailed for all those who were like him. This was These were his findings at this time. Now let's discuss the strange words and their meanings. The first word is grimaced. It means very serious or gloomy. Next one is glimmer. Glimmer means shine faintly with a wavering light. Next is pushed to our limits. It means pushed to the last point to our ability to bear pain. Next is reassure, means say or do something to remove the doubts. Now students, you have to write these strange words in your master register and you have to learn these words properly. Thank you. We will meet soon in next